Hi everyone, it's Monday the 4th of November, day before bonfire night here in the UK. Hope you're all well. This is Bernard on behalf of MovieGameNostalgia.com, and can I just wish my lovely granddaughter Molly a belated birthday. It was a birthday on Saturday, so the 2nd of November, so happy belated birthday. I should have mentioned it on Friday, totally my fault. Please accept my apologies. I know you had a wonderful time by the looks of it. I was checking out Facebook and looking at all the things on there, so I'm glad you had a good one. Anyway, it's Monday, so it's our regular look at what's out to buy on DVD and Blu-ray and even some 4K these days, where I've got the information. I'll give it to you. If you like what we do, we try to have a bit of fun on here, a bit of information, obviously, to you to let you know about these things. Some of the films I've seen, some I haven't. Obviously, I always do my full reviews on MovieGameNostalgia.com blog. So if there's any I've not had a chance to see, I always update the reviews on there. So please get along there and have a look at that, MovieGameNostalgia.com. If you push the old subscribe button, that'd be great. More the merrier. Some more subscribers over the weekend. That's fantastic. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends. Push the bell notifications so you know when these videos are coming out. Right, we've got 6 films, 4 box sets. So let's get on with this. First one I'm going to look at is, well, they had a very limited release last week at the UK cinemas. Tales from the Lodge. So obviously with Halloween last week, obviously it was actually appeared last week on the cinema. But the plan was, it doesn't mean it's anything bad about it. The plan was obviously to have a brief run at the cinema and then stick it out on DVD, which is at $9.99 on DVD at some online sites. Obviously in the supermarkets you might be able to pick up a little bit better. I don't have any Blu-ray or 4K on that. Tales from the Lodge. It's a 15 rating, 1 hour and 33 minutes, comedy horror. It's a fresh take on the portmanteau horror comedy genre. An isolated lodge somewhere in England, 5 old university pals, now nudging 40, gather for a weekend. And I think they're spreading someone's ashes and things like this. But obviously it's made portmanteau. I'll educate you, educate myself, educate you. Portmanteau stories are frame stories, meaning they are composed of several short films framed by an outside narrative. Yeah, so it's your Tales from the Crypt, obviously. Tales from the Lodge is obviously a take on that, isn't it? Director Abigail Blackmore, writer Abigail Blackmore. Stars Mackenzie, Crook. I love it. I think he's great, Mackenzie Crook. Dustin, Demri-Burns, Laura Fraser. I mean, Johnny Vegas is in there as well. So again, we got the British mix of acting talent and non-talent, if you like, with a typical British film. User reviews. I mean, it's not getting great reviews. I mean, there's only a couple of reviews out there. Not many people have seen this. Cosmasp on the 31st of October. He went and watched this on Halloween. He gave it a 7 out of 10. Now, this may or may not work better with a British audience, but will also depend on if the viewer likes the mix of thrill and comedy. This can seem annoying, especially certain characters portrayed in this, but it can also be just a lot of fun. Don't overthink it, especially the twist towards the end. That may or not be easy to spot from miles away. Also, the very end is quite ridiculous and made for laughs. Does it work? I'm uncertain myself. Didn't quite like the note it ends on, but it didn't spoil the experience and the fun I had before that. And Cleaver, 1968, he saw it at the end of August on a special screening. A grim, weary tale. All there is to say that if this is the best that British filmmakers can do, no wonder the film industry is in the state it is. Dire is too good a word for this drivel. Well, I appreciate that comment. I don't honestly think the British film industry is in the state it is. Actually, I think it's doing quite well. I mean, over here in the UK, I think this lottery thing has improved. And yeah, I mean, this film might not be everyone's taste. As you can see, we've got 2 reviews there. One was very complimentary to it and actually emphasising the fact that it might be the Britishness of it, if you like, the quirkiness of it that doesn't appeal to some. But hey, I've watched the trailers. I've not managed to watch it yet. I've been scouring out. I've not got out to watch it. I've been scouring to see if there's any information out there. It looks okay. It looks a typical but sort of British comedy horror sort of thing. You know, it's so it's only a 15. So I'll watch that. I like the people in it, so I'll give that a watch. So that's Tales from the Lodge, which is out to buy on DVD at the moment. Right, on to the next one. Now, this one, I quite liked. A lot of people didn't like it for some reason. I'm not sure. I just think it's good fun, good fun action. And it's a little film called Anna. And let's have a little bit of information on this. It's a 15 rating. It's out on DVD, Blu-ray and 4K. So you got $9.99, $14.99 and $19.99 on 4K. So that's obviously nice one to see. Have you got the 4K? I've not got 4K. I mean, I'll probably hang on. I mean, it's like anything when these things come out. I mean, obviously the quality is there, isn't it? But I mean, I'm happy watching on a phone sometimes things, so I'm probably not the best person to ask. It's an hour and 59 minutes. It's quite long, but I find it quite entertaining. I never really got bored with it. It's an action thriller. Beneath Anna Polyatova's striking beauty lies a secret that will unleash her indelible strength and skill to become one of the world's most feared government assassins. It's obviously by the wonderful director Luc Besson, written by Luc Besson. He wrote the screenplay as well. Stars Sasha, Luss, Helen, the wonderful Helen Mirren, and the superb Luke Evans. It's getting an Internet Movie Database rating overall of 6.6 out of 10, which is pretty good. I mean, that's not a bad rating for IMDb. That's pretty solid. And it's got a Metascore rating, which are the critics, which have a 4 out of 10, which isn't very complimentary. If you look at a couple of Metascores, Los Angeles Times, Noel Murray give it a 7 out of 10. As a slick, over-the-top action picture, Anna works splendidly. It features multiple jaw-dropping set pieces, including a restaurant hit where Anna walks in with an unloaded gun and walks out after killing about a dozen thugs. The plot, while fairly predictable, is at least craftily constructed on its own merits. This is one rollingly entertaining film that's, under ordinary circumstances, Besson fans would adore. The Hollywood Reporter, John Defoe, 3 out of 10. A thrill is long gone in Anna, a lifeless and instantly forgettable spy flick whose lead, Sasha Luss, shows zero promise as a movie star. So I think the Hollywood Reporter's been a little bit unfair there. A couple of user reviews on this. Awesome action film, 8 out of 10. This is from Chevrolet back in September. Another great Luc Besson movie with tons of action sequences and great spy story. Lots of twists, which makes it an awesome film. The acting from the main 4 characters is excellent. The music score suits the whole ambience throughout the film. Truly recommend it. And then we've got Liz Shotter back in July. Same story, different actress, 3 out of 10. First off, cue the fake reviews with headlines such as "Don't listen to the critics" or "Watch it and make your own mind up." It was pretty dire. So, I mean, she's very presumptuous there, Liz, isn't she? Saying, that these are all fakes. Or "Watch it, make your own mind up." It was pretty dire, and I've had a stomach full of stoic, po-faced Russian-American 90-pound supermodels having the capacity to kill 15 men whilst armed only with crockery. The whizzing back and forth of timelines was hugely distracting and became laughable around the 5th time it happened. Well, my blog on Internet Movie, on moviegamenostalgia.com, plenty of negativity out there. This is me. Plenty of negativity out there about this one. And yes, there are plenty of faults with the movie. These are evident early doors when a 1985 Moscow, as we say in the UK, has modern cars driving around, and the errors continue with equipment that doesn't fit with the year. But the Luc Besson film is just a good watch and is pure action thriller entertainment. The constant going back a few months in the plot is annoying, but it is what the film relies on to tell the story. The acting talent is average to good. The female lead doesn't quite pull it off, but throughout we had the wonderful Helen Mirren, who carries everything in her dodgy Russian accent and bedraggled, nasty persona. Action scenes as silly as the best John Wick can offer, and totally unbelievable as dozens of baddies normally queue up to kick ass rather than just all shoot or attack our heroine at once. So corny, silly, goofs aplenty, but I really enjoyed it. Turn your brain to off for a couple of hours and appreciate it. Anna is released in the UK today. An MGM Movie Game Nostalgia rating, I give it 8 out of 10. Yes. So I mean, I just, as I said, I just enjoyed it for what it was. I wasn't a big fan of the last John Wick, and to some extent, yeah, this was a bit John Wick 3-ish with the action scenes, but I found the story okay. As I say, Helen Mirren helps move the thing along nicely, and I liked Anna. Daft, stupid, absolutely full of flaws, obviously, but just a no-brainer for me. I'll recommend Anna anyway, and see what you think. But just good, stupid fun. Right, on to the next one. We go to I have to admit, I haven't caught up with Descendants 1 and 2, so that's my fault. But I did watch Descendants 3. Yeah, but I'll tell you my thoughts in a minute. Let me just sort you through it. Descendants 3 is a PG rating, $9.99 on DVD in the UK. An hour, I'm sure it's $9.99 US dollars or $8.99 US dollars over there. I think we're always pound for dollars, aren't we? It's an hour and 46, which is a little bit long for this type of thing. It's an adventure family musical. It's the teenagers of Disney's most. I mean, it's number 3. This, so you kids have probably seen this. You probably took the kids, or they've gone on their own. The teenagers, obviously, the younger kids have probably gone on their own and watched these. The teenagers of Disney's most infamous villains return to the Isle of the Lost to recruit a new batch of villainous offspring to join them at Auridon Prep. Director Kenny Ortega, stars Dove Cameron, Thomas Doherty, and sadly Cameron Boyce, who passed away sadly before this was put together. Great shame. It's getting an IMDb rating, Internet Movie Database rating of 6.8 out of 10, which is very, very good. Obviously, as I said, anything between 6 and 7 on IMDb user rating is really good. I'll give you a couple of reviews here. Saig Sell wrote on the 5th of August, excellent end to this trilogy, so I assume this is it now. Kenny Ortega and Disney do not disappoint again. The third and final film was bittersweet, as it was well written and acted, yet sad, with Cameron Boyce's death a few weeks before the premiere. As a parent, I find it great fun with songs, good and evil united to be good, and the Disney characters in it portrayed to perfection. Well done. Opposed to that, Duke Master, back in August, just wrote okay and give it 4 out of 10. The music wasn't great, and they could have made the ending so much better. Also, Audrey was awkward. The only things I loved were Cheyenne Jackson's acting and the Cameron Boyce tribute. Not saying I hated the movie, but it could have been better, and they put a miserable face on. As I said, I've watched this. My blog on moviegamenostalgia.com. As you may be aware, I'm not in the demographic for this type of movie. There you go. I mean, I'm not giving anything away there, am I? But I thought it was good fun. I have to admit to not seeing the first 2 in the Disney series, and I had no idea who Cameron Boyce was. But to hear he has lost his life weeks before this TV movie premiere is very sad indeed. Rest in peace, God bless. Thankfully, the movie does him justice and is a nice little tribute. 1 or 2 of the songs, which have the usual Disney Frozen feel, I also enjoyed. I'm sure this will be popular with its target audience. And I gave it a measly 6.5 out of 10, which, if you know me, anything over 6 out of 10 is good. So, yeah, I started to watch this. I was a little bit bored, to be honest with you, but then I grew into it. And say some of the songs are really, really, really good. And it's not aimed at me, is it? But yeah, I'd recommend it for obviously if your kids like this sort of thing, the teenagers out there. It's of an age group, I think, where they might like it. It's certainly the Frozen generation, isn't it? I think. But no, I liked it. I liked Descendants 3. I thought it was really, really good. Right, so after that, what do we go on to now? Well, we go from, what is it? It's, I suppose, a bit of fantasy to real life. We go to, and this is my sort of film. This is usually my sort of film. I mean, Robert the Bruce. I mean, as you get my favourite film back there, one of my favourites. I mean, absolute Hollywood carnage in what they did with the storyline. Obviously, the bad old English, the nasty English, and the good old Scots. I mean, this is what we want. But yeah, Braveheart back there is one of my favourite films, and I just love it for what it is. And it's always. Obviously, I like to see us English doing nice things, but obviously, that's not. You don't build empires by being nice, do you? That's just part of life. And obviously, Robert the Bruce. It's a thing that I look forward to watching because I do like these sort of things. It's over 2 hours, 2 hours and 4 minutes. Some great actors in this. It's a 15 rating, so it is quite graphic on the same lines of Braveheart. It's getting an overall rating on. It's £7 to buy, very cheap. £7 to buy on DVD and $9.99 on Blu-ray. So it's a nice price. The story of the nobleman turned outlaw hero who was crowned king of the Scots in the 14th century. Obviously, he had quite a big part in Braveheart as well, as I've just mentioned. Director Richard Gray, stars Gabriel Bateman, absolutely superb. I do like watching him in films and TV. Talitha Bateman and Mhairi Calvey. It's only getting an IMDb IMDb rating, Internet Movie Database rating of 5.2 out of 10, which is pretty poor. I mean, I class 6 as watchable. Anything below 6, he's struggling. And obviously, this is user ratings. We don't have any critics ratings on this, unfortunately. But we've got another Carol who wrote "So disappointing," 2 out of 10 back in August. Given the title of the film and how interesting the subject is, I was so disappointed that the film chose this storyline. It is boring. I looked at my watch several times during this film, as did others in the cinema. I wouldn't recommend it. Obviously, she says cinema there, so obviously that's a British watcher, a UK person watching it. And then you've got Sheila Mackenzie. There you go. I mean, I wonder what part of the world Sheila Mackenzie's from, or where she originates from anyway. Back in June, she gave it 9 out of 10. Phenomenal new Robert the Bruce film. A poignant portrayal of Bruce. At his lowest ebb, we see the king as a vulnerable, fragile, endangered character with a price on his head. This is not the traditional portrayal of the warrior king in battle mode, as we have seen in so many other films recounting Bruce's life. Instead, we are drawn into another side of Bruce's character, as we see him portrayed as defeated and broken after he has hit rock bottom and all seems lost. The story gradually unfolds, and we watch how Bruce overcomes adversity and regains the strength and renewed, invigorated determination. High quality of acting, especially in the roles portrayed by the children. Yeah, so there you have it. You have good old Robert the Bruce, so, obviously did no wrong. There you go. Well, yeah, I will watch it. I will enjoy it. I like the Robert the Bruce character in Braveheart, I must admit, and I'm sure I like this. And as I say, there's not many reviews out there, but a 2 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10. I mean, you can't get more widespread, really, can you, than that? But Robert the Bruce is out to buy today, so have a look at that one. Right, the next one we're going to look at. I reviewed this. We looked at this a few weeks back when it came out of the cinema. A film called The Souvenir. Obviously, if you remember back to then, it wasn't my favourite, to be honest with you. It's a 15 rating. It's $11.99 to buy on DVD and $14.99 to buy on Blu-ray. 2 hours too long, in my opinion. And it's a mystery drama romance. I didn't quite understand the mystery element of that. The romance was a bit. Anyway, let me stop my negativity and read out a few things on here. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. A young film student in the early 80s becomes romantically involved with a complicated, untrustworthy man. So yeah, I mean, it's director Joanna Hogg, who did the screenplay. I think it's based on their early days, etc. Stars Neil Young, Tosin Cole, Jack McMullen. It got a critics rating and still has a critics rating of 9.2 out of 10, which absolutely is incredible. And I'm so far different to them. It's unbelievable. Variety's Guy Lodge give it a 10 out of 10. Achingly well observed in its study of a young artist inspired, derailed, and finally strengthened by a toxic relationship. It is at once the coming-of-age story of many women and a specific creative manifesto for one of British cinema's most singular writer-directors, so high praise. And even one of the lower ratings was from The Guardian's Peter Bradshaw, 8 out of 10. Joanna Hogg's new movie, The Souvenir, is refrigerated and mysterious, uncompromising, uningratiating, an artifact in the highest hauteur register, but a film that creeps up on you from behind. The users, Internet Movie Database, give it 6.5 out of 10, which obviously not as keen as the critics. And there's a couple of reviews there. 3 out of 10 from Avash Guy on the 15th of June. The longest 2 hours of my life. I probably reflect that a little bit. I was so generally bored by watching this movie that I found myself checking the time on my phone constantly. The movie tries to give you a taste of the everyday life of a young woman in film school who's juggling her work and older boyfriend who happens to be an addict. However, it is unbearably dreary and dull. The main character is boring and has no defining personality other than being a pushover film student, and her occasion to her manipulative boyfriend does not encourage any sympathy. I totally I could have wrote this, to be honest with you. I agree with that what was said there. This movie is basically a vignette of nothing happening. But then you get Potassium Man on the back in May, 7 out of 10, disquieting, slightly aloof drama about a poisonous relationship, which it is. Honor Swinton-Byrne gives a profoundly subtle performance as an impressionable film student from a privileged upbringing who becomes romantically involved with an enigmatic, charming man who works for the British government. Tom Burke is a stark presence as a young woman's muse. They gradually become inseparable. Yeah, I mean, he does play a great role. She is a thoughtful, sensitive person who soon finds herself navigating the pitfalls of his serpentine personality. So, I mean, they did like it. I agree with some of the sentiment there. I mean, my overall, my closing paragraph on movie game nostalgia, possibly very kind with my score. I gave it 5.5 out of 10. So in my opinion, it wasn't really watchable, which is obviously, as I said, totally different to everybody else. You know, a lot of people's on there. Possibly very kind with my score. Well acted, but a gullible female lead and a lead actor who deserves a slap. Long and unexciting, long for the kid growing up in Sunderland documentary that was our filmmaker's original aim. So, yeah, I mean, she was supposed to be making a film about a kid in Sunderland. Yeah, and I think it's the characters. I think the guy is so horrible. I mean, the guy, he's an addict, but he's such a, I mean, well acted, superbly acted, but I just didn't like the character. I didn't like the characters, and I didn't really feel sorry for her. I just wanted to just say to, look, you know, give her a shake and say, leave this prat, you know what I mean? I didn't like the film, as I say, but a lot of critics liked it. Some users like it. So I'm not going to put you off, as I say, because I'm totally opposed to everybody else on that one. That's the Souvenir. I didn't like it. But hey, that's me. On to the next one. Bit more fun, this one. Bit more lighter. A film called Yesterday. And if you've not guessed from the title what Yesterday is about, I mean, well, obviously you shouldn't even be doing film quiz. I mean, come on, the film quiz, you might get 0 points. Yesterday, yeah, obviously it's going to be linked around the Beatles. It's a 12A. It's $9.99 on DVD. An hour and 56. A comedy fantasy. Musical, well, music in it. There's a couple of little dance sequences, etc. A struggling musician realizes he's the only person on earth who can remember the Beatles after waking up in an alternate tramline where they never existed. Yeah, he has an accident and obviously wakes up in another timeline. It's not timeline. I'm thinking trams here. Timeline where they never existed. It's by the wonderful director Danny Boyle. So give it credence for that. Stars Himesh Patel, Lily James, Sophia Di Martino. A lot of good British actors in this. Metascore rated, not great, 5.6 out of 10 from the critics. Empire's Helen O'Hara give it 9 out of 10. A glowing tribute to the Beatles and their music. This is both a toe-tapping pleasure to watch and a smart, occasionally scheme look at how we get things wrong. And the Raps' Dan Callahan only gave it 4 out of 10. Curtis's tween, nudging, corny, comedic voice is very much the main sensibility here, far more so than anything offered by director Danny Boyle or anyone else involved. So that wasn't well liked. The users, people like you and me, Internet Movie Database, 6.9 out of 10. So edging towards the 7. Brilliant film. Robert Cohen, the 5th of May, give it 9 out of 10. Just left the film festival where the film premiered. And I have to say the film was superb. Everyone in the film is outstanding, and Danny Boyle does a brilliant job handling some of the greatest songs ever written. Speaking of that, the Beatles' legacy will forever live on with this film. Well, it won't do any harm, will it? I really wanted to love this one. This is Trem Mass, wrote in September. Only give it 5 out of 10. What a great premise, totally wasted by a mediocre screenplay. Acting is good, but everything else falls flat. Sheeran's participation doesn't really make any sense. It should have been just a cameo. All in all, a big disappointment. So they didn't like it. My rating, my blog on MGN, Movie Game Nostalgia. Okay, it's a modern day version of the TV series Good Night, Sweetheart. Well, sort of. Danny Boyle has put together a nice uplifting film, but sadly it goes on a little long. But I'm sure at times in the movie you'll be singing along, but at times you'll be wanting it to get going. The idea was underdeveloped. It felt as if Boyle wasn't quite sure what to do with it. Very corny in parts, but elements of fun that make it an okay watch for an afternoon with your bestie or loved one. It ended up being nice when it could have been so much better. Yeah, I mean, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. So I quite like, as I said, it's a bit long. The Ed Sheeran bit was okay, but it's not going to. You know, it's just nice. It's just, as I said, it's just a nice watch. I did enjoy it, and as I say, I've seen it before. Obviously, I've sort of mentioned Goodnight Sweetheart. Then obviously, totally different thing. That was set in the war, but obviously, the favourite bit of that is obviously he comes up with these songs that were modern day songs. Obviously back in the 40s, and everyone think in the time of George Formby, everyone thinks he's great. So that's why I sort of mentioned that anyway in it. But yeah, I like Yesterday. It's okay. It is what it is. It's okay. Right, that's the end of the films. The box sets. The first one, what we're up to on Blacklist. So we're up to Blacklist, and we're up to Blacklist season 6. You've obviously, if you watch this, you're going to be watching it, aren't you? It's 1999 on DVD, 6 discs, 22 episodes, 903 minutes. The episodes rate anywhere between 8.1 and 9.2 on IMDb. The 6th season builds on the storyline revealed in the 5th. Well, there you go. Which showed that the real Raymond Reddington was already dead, and that the man claiming to be him, James Spader, was an imposter. So that's season 6 is out for you to buy on DVD today. And the next one we're going to look at is DC Legends of Tomorrow. So we're up to season 4 on this one, DC Legends of Tomorrow. And it's £21, $20.99 on DVD, a funny price, $29.99 on Blu-ray. It's 3 discs, 16 episodes, 732 minutes, and the ratings between 7.6 and 9 out of 10 on Internet Movie Database. After defeating the demon Malice by cuddling him to death, DC's Legends of Tomorrow join John Constantine and Ava Sharp's Time Bureau to save their world and their legacy from magical creatures from myths, fairy tales, and legends who have infected history. As the Legends time travel across historical events and encounter famous figures, they now have an added shot of magical craziness. So there you go. That's DC Legends of Tomorrow. And the next one, only season 3 on this one. So we've got season 3 of The Expanse. 3 discs, 13 episodes. We're getting less and less, aren't we? 585 minutes, and the ratings individually episodes between 8.5 and 9.5 out of 10. So all these are getting good reviews, aren't they? As the war between Earth and Mars ignites across the solar system, the terrifying next phase in the evolution of the proto-molecule threatens the very existence of humanity. Caught in the middle, the rocking anti-crew struggles to deal with tensions amongst themselves while striving to survive and aid those in peril. So obviously, that's Expanse season 3. If you've obviously enjoyed the first 2, I think you're going to enjoy that. And the last one of today is a documentary. It's not particularly a box set, but fantastic documentary. One of my favourite things as a kid. I mean, obviously born in 1959. I was obviously 10 years old at the time of the moon landings. Wonderful Apollo 11. I remember watching that with great joy and intense excitement. Obviously, and now we've got the documentary has come out to buy. It's the sort of thing, you should be buying this. It's superb. I remember having the posters on my wall of the picture of Earth and the moon and things like that. Absolutely superb. So it's my sort of thing, Apollo 11. It's a PG, $9.99 on DVD, $14.99 on Blu-ray. It's getting an overall IMDb rating of 8.3 out of 10. It's a look at Apollo 11 mission to land on the moon, led by Commander Neil Armstrong and pilots Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins. Director Todd Douglas Miller stars Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin. And just a little thing about it, from the director Todd Douglas Miller, Dinosaur 13 comes a cinematic event 50 years in the making, crafting from a newly discovered trove of 65mm footage and more than 11,000 hours of uncatalogued audio recordings. Apollo 11 takes us straight to the heart of NASA's most celebrated mission, the one that first put men on the moon and forever made Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin into household names. Immersed in the perspectives of the astronauts, the team in mission control, and the millions of spectators on the ground, we vividly experienced those momentous days and hours in 1969 when humankind took a giant leap into the future. Extras, Apollo 11 crafting the score cue walkthrough, the composer Matt Morton, transverse injection, discovering the 65mm. So as well as documentary, you get some nice little extras as well. But hey, great moment in time, good memories for me. Absolutely superb. Apollo 11 documentary has to be in everyone's collection, doesn't it? I mean, even people who are not perhaps into that sort of thing. I mean, it's a moment of time, it's a moment of history. Superb documentary. Well, that's that today. 6 films, 4 box sets. So what we got? We got Tales from the Lodge, comedy horror to buy. These are all to buy, obviously now. And a good action thriller. My favourite film of today. Obviously, Apollo 11 takes the thing for my favourite documentary box set, obviously. But yeah, Anna, my favourite. Turn your brain off and watch films today. Descendants 3, family, musical adventure. Robert the Bruce, a historical epic. How true to life, who knows, but should be good fun, if not, hopefully not too boring. The Souvenir, a mystery drama romance, not my favourite. Yesterday, yeah, a good foot-tapping comedy, family, with some music interludes in there. Blacklist season 6, DC Legends tomorrow season 4, Expanse season 3, and of course Apollo 11, the documentary. So if you're going to buy, if you get any of those and you watch any of those, let us know in the comments what you think. Put your things on Twitter. I'm at nostalgia_movie on Twitter. Any comments? I put all my stuff on there as well. I'm on YouTube, obviously, at Burns and Amy. Links to my Citizen vlogs, which are about my football team, Manchester City. If you're into that, or tell your friends if they like Manchester City or they're interested in history in general. And obviously, I'm on Facebook at Burns and Amy. Links to moviegamenostalgia.com. And hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the thing. We're doing the board game review tomorrow, so that's quite another one of my favorite things as a child, and it's a game based. It's one of the games based on the franchise that I loved as a kid. So again, from the 60s. So I look forward to doing that tomorrow. I've played the game; it's good fun. So I'll tell you what it is, and on Wednesday I'll be back with the cinema releases here in the UK, and obviously they're not too far out with the US and other places, are they? So I'll be back with that on Wednesday. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Push the subscribe button, push the bell notification, all these videos come out. Sorry about over half an hour. This time of year, we do get a lot of things to do. I mean, I had 10 things to look at today, so I'll put a little thing in the bottom. If you're looking for a specific film or box set, I'll put the timings at the bottom. So, and it's at the end of the video now, so I should have told you at the start, shouldn't I? But hey, there you go. Whatever you're doing with the rest of the day, have a good one. There's a bit of blue sky, not much. Look after yourself. Look after your friends, and especially look after your family. And I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.